Hello, my name's David Maines. I'm the host of a daily television show, 100 Hundley Street, and chairman of a television station in the Toronto area called CTS. I have a great souvenir of my days at Camp Maple Leaf in Macedonia and then at Camp DK, and it's this little bag, and the sale of this, and I paid for this one with you know what, military personnel, your dish, your knife, fork, spoon, your bowl. What we paid for this goes, of course, to help that amazing project at the Children's Hospital in Skopje. I also, just before getting into it, I was given the service prayer book by Padre Diebold up at DK, and I was reading a prayer moment in here that I thought we could start with. Lord, every time I wear my uniform, I am seen by others as a symbol of my country. Let me never bring shame or disgrace to my country, my family, or to you. And as I read that, I couldn't help but think of myself as a television evangelist and say, Lord, every time I'm on television, what I do, please, Lord, I'm seen as a symbol of my ministry and my country too. Let me, David Maines, never bring shame or disgrace to my country, my family, or to you. And I'm very cognizant of that. My good friend Jack Price of Hamilton brought Naval Captain Reserve Gary Ostafy, who's commander of the Royal Military Institute, to visit me here at the Crossroads Centre. This resulted in an opportunity for me to have dinner with Canada's Minister of Defence, the Honourable Art Eggleton. I'd met him when he was Mayor of Toronto, but this was my first time ever to meet a Minister of Defence. Out of the conversations with Jack Price, Gary Ostafy, and the Minister came an invitation for me to visit our Canadian troops. The closest I've been to the military was my dad's stories of World War I, and then a stint while trying to earn some money to go on to university as a carpenter, building some of those houses there in Petawawa back in 1955, 56, somewhere in there. So our team was Captain Andre Bourdet, public relations officer for the Army in Ottawa, leader of our group, Commander Ostafy, Alan Stevenson, our bilingual producer, cameraman, and myself. So, 7 days. Let's go to day one. All right, the Canadian troops arriving from leave, and of course the Padre there at Camp Maple Leaf, Major Clifton, welcomed us to this camp.
David, Gary, welcome to Camp Maple Leaf.
Thank you.
This is the main support, logistics support base for Operation Kinetic, where all the supplies come in from across the country and over in Canada, and are broken down and then sent on up north. And we also have our National Command Element here, which is where all the operational decisions and the link back to NDHQ is made. So come on, let me show you around.
Okay.
And this is our chapel over here, gentlemen. We can show you that later from the other side.
Okay.
And next to that we have one of the first shower units that was put in here. Modular tent, and then these are the new shower units that the military has, and they're all stainless steel inside.
All right, wide-eyed and open mouth with amazement at this military operation. We met your pharmacist.
A great shortage of drugs in Kosovo. Have there been supplies that have come through here for the general population, or just for the military only?
Oh, just for the military only. We can't take upon ourselves to give it to the population. We're not allowed, unless we have, I believe, it's ministerial approval, or the task force commander himself, the full colonel.
And we learned about one who was involved with the civilian population. Now tell me again about the dentist.
He's a single dentist with a dental assistant surgeon, and what they do is it's a mobile unit, and they move from the National Support Element location forward to the battle group locations. They provide the dental service for the entire task force. So it's a fairly busy job. And what they also do is when they're up north is they'll operate clinics in the local area, and they'll provide emergency service to local citizens who require it.
Is this on your own initiative that you do this work for the local residents, or is that part of command? In other words, are you following orders to do it, or is it coming out of your own heart?
I guess a bit of both. It increases the public awareness of Canadians in Kosovo, as well as makes me feel good. Most of our troops that come over here are in really good shape dentally, and aside from their emergencies alone, this gives me a little more business per day, per week. We donate 1 day a week when I'm up north in Kosovo.
Master Corporal Mercer in the heart of the operation here, this army moving on its stomach. But they have never had such equipment to help the army move on its stomach. Explain this floor to me right here.
Well, basically what happens is the sea container comes in as it is now, and then the wall drops down, and then that becomes the floor. And then there's 2 of these in place, and then they basically build all the floor around that.
So this is an actual container that came by ship, say, to Thessalonica, and then up the road here on a truck, and you drop down the sides, and you're ready to go.
And then they just build around it. Like I said, they built the floor, and then the whole dome that you see around here. And in 5 days, they had us up and running.
Fantastic. And so there's another one back here, not just one. There are 2 of these, plus other equipment, all shiny stainless steel. Now here's another one of those containers where the sides just come down to make the floor. And what is this unit?
Well, basically what it is out front is the serving area, and this here is basically the production area, and then in the back is all the cleanup area. So this is the same kind of design as you'd have in Canada, all the equipment anyway. All this equipment is exactly the same as what we have in the big kitchens in Petawawa. So it's really state-of-the-art, and we're really happy with it.
I remember during the Second World War that Churchill called these the sinews of war.
Look after all the demands and everything that come in. Make sure they go to the applicable spots, and if we can't source it out here, we go back to Canada or the local area for it.
All right, here, the necessary money, supplies, vehicles are the sinews of peace. Jackie Sharon from Hamilton.
Yes.
Hey, I saw you walk into this building with that pile of crayons. What's it for?
This is actually for our project, the Scenic Project downtown at the Orthopedic Hospital for Children. So what we did is, it was kind of neat. The first time we went, it was very, very, very quiet. We walked in and the kids were kind of looking at us, strangely. The second and third time we go back, all you hear is, when we go in, it's very quiet. And then we leave, all you hear is rumblings. Kids are looking over the glass, they're clapping. Actually, there's a little boy, there's a sister and a brother. And the first time we went in there, they were sitting in the bed, and they have their beds together because they're very nervous, and they're in there for some sort of operation. And they were side by side. Everywhere they went, they were holding hands, and they were walking together. And they would never smile. And I asked the nurse through the translator, and she said, this little boy never smiles. So we went there, and we were giving them all toys, individual toys. And I went to give him a toy, and he was sleeping, and they were both sleeping side by side, looking at each other. So I said, I wanted to wake him up, and they wouldn't let me wake him up. So the next day, we went back, and I walked in, and there he was sitting there playing with his toy. He had a little smile on his face, so it was really neat.
Yeah, that's beautiful. So as well as giving these to the children, you have something you're going to give me as well, a flak jacket and a helmet and so on. Can we find those
sure we can.
now before we head over into Kosovo?
Sure. Okay, we'll give you a large.
Definitely large. Okay. All right. Oh, well, thank you. This is service. It's like almost like going to the tailor and getting fitted here.
How's that fit?
Maybe it's still not large enough for me.
But they got to fit nice and tight.
Okay, well, thank you very much, Master Sergeant Jackie Warrant, a warrant officer.
Warrant officer, that's it.
Well, I don't get these things right. Now, this is
the back.
The back over the ears. Okay.
Just like that.
Just like so.
And the chin, the little chin strap comes like this. Is it a little bit tight?
Right. Well, we're getting set up here. I understand that I only have to wear these if I'm in an armored vehicle. Don't have seat belts, so this is our this in place of seat belts that we wear back home. Hey, all this, and if there's any indication of being under fire, that we are protected.
You are.
Thank you.
You're very welcome. Take care.
So we did run these 7 days of video segments on 100 Huntley Street over a 3-day period, the 12th, 13th, and 14th of April. But this tape we're putting together now is for you, our military personnel. Can I go back into Padre Diabold's little service prayer book that I was given up at Camp DK? This prayer is called In Time of Training. O Lord our God, we ask your help and your blessing upon us all who are being prepared to do our part in the defense and service of our country. Grant that we may cheerfully perform all necessary duties. Watch over us and protect us. Well, I would say, from my experience, God is answering that prayer, because I sure saw a lot of cheerfully performance of all necessary duties, and certainly protection. Let's go ahead into day 2. All right, we're still in Macedonia. It was important for us as civilians, of course, to pass the United Nations security and to get our press passes. This required a trip to downtown Skopje, where I was eager to find the house where Mother Teresa was born. This was very, very important to me. In the middle of a main street in Skopje, Macedonia, there is a corner. It's actually the corner of where the house once stood in which Mother Teresa was born. The other 2 corners are over here. And in the middle of the house, a plaque in the middle of the street to Mother Teresa, born August 26, 1910. The quote, I'm told, in the language of the people here, says that people hunger not just for food, but they hunger for love. And our visit here with the peacekeepers in Macedonia and then into Kosovo is illustrated by Mother Teresa, probably the most influential moral figure in the 20th century. I would like to read the mission statement which Jesus read for himself when he began his ministry, announcing his ministry, his calling in his hometown synagogue in Nazareth. He read from Isaiah the prophet, chapter 61, these words. And this was Mother Teresa's mission statement. She illustrated the mission of her Lord Jesus. The Spirit of the Lord God is upon me, because the Lord has anointed me to preach good tidings to the poor. He has sent me to heal the brokenhearted, to proclaim liberty to the captives, and the opening of the prison to those who are bound, to proclaim the acceptable year of the Lord. I find this deeply moving. In modern terms, Mother Teresa was totally politically incorrect. Heard the story of her visit to Harvard about 5 years ago, and she received the longest, strongest standing ovation, they said, in the history of Harvard University. And yet almost everything she said was politically incorrect. She stood for the unborn children and their rights. She stood for the beauty of human relationships between men and women. She stood for that which all of us intrinsically know is right and good, wholesome, pure, kind, and loving. I find it very moving. Even though the house is no longer here, the people have recognized the place where Mother Teresa was born. Our mission is the same. It's the mission of the peacekeepers of Canada that go away above and beyond any call of duty in helping people put roofs on their houses, in caring for children, in just helping to heal broken lives and mend broken hearts in a beautiful way. Thank you, Mother Teresa, for being with us. A gypsy boy begging next to Mother Teresa's statue would not touch the money laid on its base. Well, I found out that military personnel are not allowed to walk the streets in their uniforms.
We're here on the footbridge in downtown Skopje over the river, and in the background you have in a brief scene a reflection of what this area is really all about. We have the leftover ruins of a ancient Turkish fortification, and you can see back behind that the minaret of a Muslim mosque, and then as you pan over to the right you see the tower of a Serbian Orthodox church and another minaret, and that really speaks about what the religious demographics are in this part of the world. It is a mixture of the Orthodox Church, the Serbian Orthodox Church, and the Muslim religion. Of course, here in Macedonia, the predominant religion is the Orthodox Church. And then when you get to up to Kosovo now, the dominant religious makeup there is the Muslim tradition. And perhaps through this part of the world, it's not that different than we have back in Canada, in that a lot of the people here are nominally practicing their religion, and they have come through a very long history going back to the 1300s of various wars and battles, and often religion has been more of a political statement going with the conquering nation rather than a deep-felt faith. So that's a bit of what the religious makeup is here in Skopje, and as I say, it's kind of all captured in that one scene back behind us.
Next, a visit to the place in a hotel where we will get our press credentials necessary for civilians to enter Kosovo. So we're almost at the end of day 2 of our visit with the Canadian Armed Forces. Okay. All right. C'est moi. Pour toi. Oh. Hey, pour toi, Alain.
How much does this make for you now? For which other ones?
Kuwait, Israel, and CD.
Getting old then. Congratulations.
You have provided the best support and sustainment possible. No matter which platoon you're in, whether you're in the headquarters, no matter. You have done an outstanding job, and I'm tremendously proud of you for having done that. But I certainly knew when I saw you back in Petawawa that you were definitely capable of doing it. But the tour's not finished. You're probably coming up on 2/3 of the way through, and I know a lot of you will be the last ones out, because now we have to tear down the mission. But I just wanted to say you have done a fantastic job. See it through to the end. Come home safe and sound, and look after yourself and look after your buddies.
So we've come to the end of day 2 in our coverage, and bedtime prayer, may I say, from the little prayer book that Padre Diebold gave to me at Camp DK, a prayer moment. Lord, let my words and prayers and my attitudes and actions show that I truly enjoy being with you and living your way. Let's go ahead into day 3.
there's the Belgians waiting here. So on the other side of the border now, there's a convoy coming through this bypass as well as civilian coming through the border. You'll see when we get to the other side.
We're at the border between Macedonia and Kosovo. Kosovo is just behind us. At this border, you'll see there was a refugee camp. It has now been cleared and the people moved back to Kosovo or other places in Europe. I wanted to give you some sort of a concept of what happened in Kosovo and what is happening. After the conflict, KFOR, which is the NATO nations, moved into Kosovo to take control. United Nations followed, and they have been attempting to set up local governments and local authorities. At present, it is still the armed forces in charge. Everywhere you go, the armed forces are there and providing all the services that are required by the citizens of Kosovo.
Well, they're being unusually cooperative today. Yeah, that's really. A lot of times if you stop and look at them, so you could just imagine what this was like a year ago.
Padre, behind us is a site of a mass grave. Can you comment on what is here?
Yeah, what we have here, David, is a mass grave of the Albanians. You can see the red flag there over the cemetery, and these are Albanians that would have been killed during the Serb occupation in Kosovo here and the war before the Serbs were driven out.
So is this a Muslim cemetery?
Yeah, this would be a Muslim cemetery here, and you can see the graves are very close together and all very fresh, so we know it's a new mass grave, and we don't know whether they were KLA soldiers that were massacred or whether they would have been civilian, probably women or children that were killed.
Now, right on this spot, I noticed you and one of the other officers very gingerly walking along here, even though this is a very hard surface road. And one of the things that stopped you, if we could just step aside, was that little spot of where the soil is a different color than the other, because that could be a small little landmine. The landmines come in many different shapes and sizes.
Oh yeah, that's right. The landmines come in a variety of shapes and sizes. The largest ones being, and you'll see them later today, the anti-tank mines that are very huge, and the anti-personnel mines, which can be quite small, and that takes very little pressure to trip them. In fact, there's been cases where just the moving of the soil will trip landmines. And the other thing we have to watch for are things like the pop tins and the other debris that can be booby traps. And I guess the biggest concern we have here, looking over this area, is that cigarette package that is out in the middle of nowhere there, and kind of makes you wonder what might be inside it. And the other thing we had to be concerned of during the winter and spring season, as you've noticed, the roads here have got a lot of potholes, and they would fill up with water, and that was a prime area where you could put mines or other kind of booby traps, because it's just impossible to avoid all the potholes in this part of the world.
A mass grave, the first of many that I would see. What a horrifying result hatred produces. Well, this is Pristina, and I was informed this is the capital of the Yugoslavian province of Kosovo. Canadians, look, we don't have apartment buildings with satellite dishes like that. Could it be that a message of peace and love could come through them from us to them on an ongoing basis? All right, the Crow's Nest and the Kosovo Rotary Wing located here. Helicopters. In all, I'm told there are 900 Canadian troops present at all times on this base, and one of the other camps ringing the Canadian area is Camp Able. What else? road hockey with the nearby Norwegians, who now, I'm told, have actually taken over Camp Able already. Go Team Canada! And an armored personnel carrier. The APC is being readied for us to head out on a patrol, and I'm feeling very, very military there with the flak jacket and the helmet, and it's different. It really is different for a guy like me to find myself in that place. Come to a school here, and I understand there's a story, and we're wanting to look at what's happening here in Kosovo through the eyes of the Padres. Bob, what's happening in this particular school?
Well, this is a school in an area that's referred to as Potluck, and in this area here, in the war about a year ago, there were 10 children that died as a result of the violence, and probably 40-50 adults as well. Now, for ourselves as the Canadian contingency here, the 430 EATH unit decided to help build some hard structures, which you'll see in the background here.
The materials are brought in through CIMIC, which is a group through Canada which helps funds on certain projects.
Bye-bye.
How many kids are there? There's our
driver.
Just say that on later.
Is 18?
18.
18? Yeah.
Our driver brought candy for the children, and I have the privilege of giving it out in this tent classroom. The schools were damaged, and
Look at this.
oh, there's a candy for you. Oh, that's so
Try
sad.
that.
That candy.
I think anybody would do this. I have 2 children of my own, a 4-year-old and a 1-year-old.
How does this make you feel?
You're killing me right now. I can't answer that. I left home and my little girl was 7 months old, and when I get back, she'll be almost a year, and then I got to leave her again for another month, and kids mean a lot to me. And I come from a big family, and I was looked after very well as a child. I'm the youngest of 9, and I wish they all could have what I had.
Hello. 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 Bye-bye. Bye-bye.
Master Sergeant Correll, you were telling me earlier about a very special young lady who's an interpreter at your camp.
Yes, sir. We have this individual, Miss Hannah. That's her first name. She has a little villa that was given to her by her parents. And there's an area in our town that I'm responsible for that most people, they don't have a job. They work at the factories, and they don't have very much. Most of their homes have been destroyed. So Miss Hannah has brought a couple of these families into her home, and she's basically given them free lodging. She supplied them with most of their belongings, like their beds and their stove and their fridge. And I don't know, it just sort of seems like since she's only part of the 2% that's not Muslim here, she seems to be going for some sort of sainthood or something.
She's a Christian?
Yes, sir. One of the 2% that's here. They're her and her sisters.
Well, some of you know Miss Hannah. We'll get to meet her. This girl with the amazing Mother Teresa potential later in the hour. Everywhere burnt out vehicles and no garbage collection. Maybe it's booby-trapped, or perhaps it's the level of depression of the people that is illustrated by the garbage. And I visited a local mosque, and the imam claimed this war was a war of the atheists, leftover communists, on both the Serbian and the Albanian sides of this conflict. sir. Thank you very much for that greeting. We are a group here from Canada. I host a daily television, a Christian television show all across Canada every day. And I want you to know that we love you, we care for you, and we honor you, sir. And we'd like to present you with a copy of the scriptures that I have signed for you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you very much as well. I met broken-hearted Serbian Orthodox people and broken-hearted Muslims. The Imam said he had buried, over a period of time, 262 victims of war. And something along the same line could be said on the other side of the conflict, that's for sure. Just again, back to the service prayer book I was given at Camp DK. A prayer moment. Father, so many of my needs and concerns never get condensed into words. You know my heart and mind. Please deal with me accordingly. Yeah. Amen to that. Day 4. Here's a city that moves and is established almost overnight. What a fantastic organizational skill this represents. I was really impressed with all of you military personnel. These are the very special people as Canadians who serve us. Internet connections back home, all of these things that provide a little bit of home while in Kosovo. This would almost get you out of places more quickly than that.
It is. This is, with a track, you're able to go a lot more off-road, a little bit more, especially in the wintertime with the snow and all that. It has a little bit more mobility and traction. Whereas these are made for...
How many wheels drive? How many drive wheels do you have on that? Are they all drive wheels?
They're all drive wheels.
They're all drive wheels.
The tires are made, if they're shot or they're punctured, they're able to go for certain distance, and they're almost like
oh boy, you know how to impress a guy like me, a mobile bridge, armored personnel carriers, and of course Camp DK is hooked up to home here by satellite telephone calls. I made a couple of calls there, and at all Canadian overseas bases I have seen them up on the Syrian border, the inevitable signpost. Okay. Sergeant Corneau. Yes, this is something I find here in a helicopter repair center. What is this behind you?
That is a playground for the kids that Captain Bauer, Scott Bauer, built for the kids for school in Glogovac. And originally he started that just like that about a week and a half ago. And it ended up only with a small pieces of wood, then it ended up with ropes, ladder, and it's for the kid out there. They got nothing to play in the school ground, and it was one of his ideas just to pass the time and at least to give those kids something nice to play with.
On behalf of Canadians, please pass our thanks on to yourself and also to the gentleman for waging peace. Okay?
Waging peace. Thank you very much, sir. No problem.
So I had the opportunity of joining a helicopter patrol. Day and night, those helicopters are back and forth across the area, and we spotted the Canadian pioneers at work.
What you're looking at right now is a section of pioneers attached out doing humanitarian aid here in Kosovo. They're putting a roof on a school that was destroyed during the war. This project will take approximately 2.5 weeks to complete.
More mass graves. What can I say? The nickel producing plant is in this area, destroyed by NATO bombing, I understand, and just everything flattened along this particular road. Well, almost everything. I think that's that nickel refinery, and you can see in the next shot, I think coming up here, a crater. The bomb hit beside the building instead of on the building and lifted a blue car up on the very roof. Now that's explosive power.
We're here at Duke's company out in Glogos, and one of the things that our soldiers are involved in is some of the civilian military cooperation efforts, and that means identifying the needs that exist in some of the areas in the civilian population and then trying to meet them. One of our soldiers, Sergeant LaBelle, and his crew came across a family that were living in some pretty serious conditions, and they responded to try and help the family get through the cold when it was minus 25, minus 30 degrees Celsius out.
Let's just pull Sergeant LaBelle, please come in and stand right here in the middle. Come right in the middle here. Okay, now you found this this situation very, very bad.
Yes, I did. They were living in tents, 28 people, and it was very cold weather, so we tried to do anything we could to help them out.
And that was?
Well, we brought them stoves, flooring for their tents, a new tent, a bigger one, some sleeping bags, food, wood, because they didn't have much wood in the area. So we brought them wood basically nearly every day during the winter days.
And introduce these two young ladies beside you here.
This is Hannah, one of our interpreters.
Okay, Hannah, come in close here.
And I'll let Hannah introduce...
Okay, this is Hyria. She is the member of that family which the Canadian soldier helped her. Now she's working with us as a cleaner.
Is this important to your family, that you would have employment in order to support your family?
Po është shumë e rëndësishme se na kemi kushtet goxha të vështira për arsye se na kanë ndjek me shtëpia me krejt. Unë e falenderoj shumë këtë ushtarin që më kanë ndihmuar, na kanë ndihmuar shumë.
Okay, so yes, it's very important for me to have a job because I can support my family and because we have a very hard condition, and I thank a lot this Sergeant LaBelle that he helped us to find a job for me.
We're proud of you, Sergeant LaBelle. On behalf of all the Canadians who watch 100 Huntley Street, God bless you and your big heart of love. Thank you. And Sergeant LaBelle took us up the lane to visit his adopted family. Look at the little slippers there.
Ah, hey.
Sergeant LaBelle said it's very hard to get proper footwear to help them, you know. Oh, look at them all. Gary, they keep on coming. There's lots of kids. Come on, Gary, we want to get you on video here.
Benita.
Hers. There's another boy back here. Hers. No more cars. How about you look like a monkey type person? Happy Easter. Matches your color, doesn't it? Eh? Oh, he's a Tarzan type of guy, eh? Tarzan. Great.
A blanket?
Can you show that? Look at that blanket, nice and warm blanket.
And there's a winter jacket here. And clothes for, tell her it's clothes for their size for girls and some for their father.
Okay, Padre, you told about Sergeant LaBelle and the family that he and his team are helping. This is their house, right?
Well, yes. As you can see, you cannot live in it anymore, and so yeah, it's pretty sad.
And the Sergeant LaBelle and his team set up that tent to help them, bring them firewood and all those special things. Talk about the sergeant. What about motivation? I mean, you know guys, and you and the sergeant have been joking around, and he said, don't say anything bad about me, but you're the Padre. Talk about Sergeant LaBelle and his team.
Well, the Canadian soldiers, I think the longer, we are here, I think the deeper our pride and our love, grows for them. They, come to, these areas in the world and come to serve and to help, leave the families behind and, all the comforts that we do. But when they come across a family that's in need, as this family was here, I think there was a real danger that some of the children were going to freeze to death or, die of illness. They were becoming ill very frequently. And their heart just goes out to them. They think of their children back home, enjoying the comforts that they enjoy. And so they respond very quickly. And all those wonderful things that the Canadian citizens, send over to try and help as well. The soldiers then become the front line to bring them out as they have here and provide something that'll keep them alive.
Yesterday, Sergeant Gorell said about Hannah, and he said she was trying to be like a Mother Teresa or win sainthood or something, because into her home she has taken quite a few people. Hannah, tell me about the people. You're an interpreter at the Canadian base. Yes, tell me about the people that you're caring for.
Okay, I'm caring for one family, which consists of about 6 persons, mother, father, and 4 sons. They came from another village up north, which they lived here for 12 or 20 years already, but their house was destroyed by Serbs, and they had no relatives in this town, so they didn't know where to go. So they came and asked for shelter. So since we had an empty place staying there, so we offered shelter for the winter time until they start working in their house.
Now, you're an unusual Albanian here. You are a Christian Albanian, and this family, are they Christians also?
Well, no, they're not, but
they're Muslim.
They're Muslim. It's true that the father is a very Muslim, and he prays 5 times a day. But we're progressive right now because their sons come in a Thursday meeting that we have, Bible studies. They're coming and taking part. They're just.
So you're actually studying the Bible together. Yes. Now, when did were you Muslim? Are you a Christian now? Were you always a Christian?
No, I converted in '97.
How did that happen?
Well, it happened. After my parent died, I just felt alone, and I had to live with my sisters here, and I didn't know where to find comfort. And so I met a friend in Pristina when I started going to university. So then he was just speaking stupid words, I can say it right now, but then I just was sick of those words. And can you say something good? Then he started talking about God, and then at that time I was meeting some Jehovah's Witnesses, so they were giving some tracts in their literature, so I was ready to join them, but then he told me that you're going wrong way, so he said he lead me to the right way, because I never knew that they're Christians.
And what is the right way?
The right way is that Jesus itself is a Lord and a Savior, and through His blood, He's cleansed me from my sins, and He was the person who really gave me eternal life to me.
And you had a tragedy in your family. One of your sisters died last week. And yet here you are. You're talking about your faith and you're smiling. How can you do that?
I can do that because I know God gave life, and God gave life, eternal life, which is more precious than this one. So I know that God had everything under control. And I feel more safe that my sister, she was a Christian too. And I know she gave their lives to Jesus, so I have faith enough that God takes care of her and her family. So that's why God gave me strength to carry on.
Okay, Hannah. We'll meet Hannah again later in the hour. But another one of those prayer moments from the service prayer book that I received at Camp DK. Make me your child again, Father, trusting and obedient to you. Day 5. We're looking at the humanitarian work that's being done by the servicemen here in Kosovo through the eyes of the 3 chaplains, the 3 padres. I'd like them to introduce themselves. While denomination seems to me to be very unimportant up here, I do want them to mention also their particular church connection. First of all,
I'm Padre Bob Diabald, and I'm with the Evangelical Lutheran Church in Canada, David.
And I'm Padre Lloyd Clifton, minister of the Presbyterian Church in Canada.
I'm Padre Guy Chapdelaine. I'm a Roman Catholic priest.
The role of the Padre is an amazing one to me. I must confess something. I'm ashamed to confess this. In fact, the only role model I ever had was Father Mulcahy of MASH on television. I realize that has no resemblance to the real thing here. How would you define your role here, Padre Diabald?
When you ask that question, I think by the time we figure out what we are, is permissible to talk about and what isn't, we tend to try to be very quiet on a good day. But I think the role is it's marvelous. It's just a marvelous privilege, to be here, to try to serve our God and to serve our people. And it's such a varied experience. There are just so many things that we do in terms of trying to support, our soldiers, represent our country, and most of all to represent our God and speak His, message of love.
Padre Clifton, you are the senior officer here in this command. And as such, how do you tell us about your leadership? Do you give a direct leadership? Are you the boss or the bishop, or how do you see your relationship with these two other men?
Well, I've certainly, they don't need a boss, and neither one of these fellas need too much in terms of leadership or supervision. They're both, very competent chaplains and minister to their own units in a marvelous way. I guess one of my roles that I have that perhaps Bob and Guy don't have quite so much is to liaise back with the Chaplain General's office in Ottawa, and I am also the advisor to the Contingent Commander, Colonel Fenton, if he has any issues or if I have things I want to discuss with him in terms of the morale of the troops or things that are happening, then I would be the one that would talk to him.
Padre Chapdelaine, I have been absolutely amazed at the above and beyond the call of duty. I've seen soldiers in building schools. I've seen them distributing pencils and other supplies. I have seen them distributing clothes. I have seen them putting in a water system for a refugee camp. None of this is a part of their job description as far as I know. Talk about the motivation that we see here.
The motivation is to do the well for the people around us. And I think the soldiers are very proud to serve the locals here.
And just to show that we are truly Canadian, we do cover in English now, La Belle Province de Québec. Would you say approximately the same thing en français?
Je pourrais dire que la motivation la plus profonde des militaires, c'est de faire le bien ici autour et de vraiment essayer de faire une différence par leur présence ici en terre du Kosovo.
Merci, et Dieu vous bénisse. Throughout the hour, you'll be meeting these padres individually as we look at this great humanitarian effort carried out by Canadians in Kosovo. All right, day 5 is Sunday. We visited 3 churches. First, the Roman Catholic Church in Pristina. My translator and I are meeting the priest who graciously welcomed us. I explained to our Muslim translator the Stations of the Cross, where he's arrested, and all the various events on Jesus on the way to the cross. Next up, Pentecostal church. and then on after that to a Baptist congregation. It was great to watch a row of British soldiers from the Desert Rats platoon as they were worshiping God with this very enthusiastic congregation. Met Hannah earlier. And Hannah, would you introduce us to this gentleman standing beside you?
Yes, he's the pastor of my church. He's the person who led me to Jesus, as I testified earlier. So I want to introduce this Pastor Beckham.
How do you do? Very happy to meet you, sir.
Nice to meet you, sir.
So she was a student at the university here in Pristina, and you led her to Jesus. Now, what did you say to her that caused her to decide to follow Jesus?
I think it's not a lot what I said, but it's more what she saw in my life and the relationship that we built together, that she could know that somebody loves her and takes care of her, and God is the one who loves her the most. And it was the impact of living testimony more than just words.
He explained a lot of things to me that it's not that's the wrong way, so he led me to the real Jesus and the real God. So.
Okay, so now you're about to have your Sunday morning service here, and they're all young people. I see everyone in your church is a young person. I didn't see anybody here maybe more than 30 years old, huh?
That's correct. It's the evangelical Christians in Kosovo are very young, and especially the youth is very open for the gospel. And because I am young as well, and all the ministers here, that's why this is how we get attached with the young people.
We read from Psalm 46.
That's what we are to do, I believe, as a Christians, and especially as a pioneer movement in Kosovo, when we are almost the first generation of evangelical Christians. That's what we are to do, to reach others for Jesus.
Well, that Sunday was the 76th anniversary of the RCAF. That fly-in from other NATO countries was really impressive. But I'll tell you what I was really impressed by, and that was the Canadians who care for the children and started a scout troop. In fact, I was a scout master myself at one time years back.
Right after the bombing ended, we sent in peacekeepers, and the first squadron we had in here was our squadron from Edmonton, 408 Squadron, and they started the first Kosovar Scouts. To tell you the truth, I'm not sure exactly how they gathered the kids or what they did, but we have 21 kids. When we changed over rotations in December, they went home, we came to replace them, and we just took over the duty.
These guys are really great, these kids, because some of them walk over 2 hours to get here, and it's only for once a week on Sundays for 2 hours, but some of them walk quite a distance to get here. And even at the heart of winter, temperatures were really cold here in January. We had down in the -20s, a couple of days even lower than that, -20 Cs, and these guys would walk to get here just the same for 2 hours. And they're always full of resilience, joy, energy. Nothing gets these kids down. They're just happy to be here, and that's what's really kind of neat, or really incredible about the Scouts here in Kosovo. They appreciate everything.
I think that all the people and all the parents of these kids are very grateful for this, because of the kids. They lived so hard life on the past, so this is very good for them.
On day 5 Sunday, I was honored to participate in a church service with the Padre.
In him should not perish, but have eternal life. We give thanks to you for the salvation you have prepared for us through Jesus Christ. The blood of Christ. The blood of Christ shed from the child of Christ.
Be bold, be strong, for the Lord our God is with you.
Colonel Pennington is the commanding officer of the battle group here and commanding the camp here called DK in Kosovo. Sir, I remember CNN and a report. I heard the words, General Schwarzkopf, the commander of Desert Storm, you know, the war there, say he didn't trust a man if he couldn't cry. I have seen two of your men, tough soldiers, when they were handing out things to the children, ministering to the children. I saw tears coming down their face. What do you think of that?
Well, there's no doubt that just about every soldier here is a tough soldier. That's true. But when you see the conditions that some of the people here are living under, and as you said, having to deal with small children and the way that their life is, then I don't know how that can't touch someone.
I remember after the Second World War, the Americans launched the Marshall Plan. First time, I suppose, in the history of humanity that the conquerors had actually rebuilt the enemy instead of the opposite, further decimated them. I think what you're doing here is the most marvelous. It has evolved in the cooperation of the military with the civilian people, with the police forces that have come, the RCMP, the various provincial and city police forces of Canada have sent representatives to try to pick up the slack here and rebuild the infrastructure. This is an amazing example of cooperation, sir.
Yeah, that's exactly right. We've learned so much on all of the operational tours that we've done that we are now beginning to understand how important it is for the military to be able to plug in, assist the non-governmental organizations. We now support police operations here. It's one big organization working together for the betterment of the entire society.
Today, on day 5 of our visit, it was the 76th birthday of the Royal Canadian Air Force, and we've been in the chapel service here, the Padre's Place it's called, and I, preaching, lifted my voice at least twice in order to overcome the sounds of the helicopters taking off. The Russians were here, the Americans were here, the French, the British. They were all here displaying their latest helicopters and celebrating with us the birth of the RCAF. There's an amazing cooperation here between countries as well. There's a spirit of cooperation that I think is. I just think you are to be congratulated, all the military personnel. There's a heart here, and sir, I just say my biggest and heartiest congratulations on my behalf and on behalf of Canadians everywhere. Thank you, sir.
Oh, I thank you very much. You're right. The sense of cooperation that we've experienced here is amazing. I've been on other operational tours. I've never seen anything such as I've seen here, all of the country cooperating for the betterment of everyone.
You know, since coming home from Kosovo, 2 days in a row, the General Romeo Dallaire's story has been on television, in the newspapers, and there'll probably be a book coming up about it. And what might have been done to help him keep his emotions together following the Rwanda service that he gave to humanity, literally. And I thought, just maybe, if we would pray more for you, our military personnel, if we could share more of the kind of teaching that I was given by your padres, it may help us all, help particularly those of you as you return from Kosovo in your own emotional well-being. Again, from this little prayer book Padre Diebold gave me at the Padre's Place there, Lord, get me into the habit of prayer. Make me as ready to pray as you are to hear and answer. And I encouraged people all across Canada when we put these 7 days on video to pray for you, our military personnel. Thank you again for your service. Let's go ahead to day 6. On day 6, I learned that Canadians are providing $750,000 through the Canadian International Development Agency to help rebuild Kosovo. That's about 3 cents each for Canadians. I hope I don't hear any complaints from Canadians on that. The assistance that you've received in order to get going again from the Canadians. Talk to us about that.
The aid or assistance that they were doing, they were helping us in the roofing and also in the power. The job that they did a great job. And they're saying that there are lots of things that are still they need to be done, but the job that they did a great job.
I understood very clearly that violence indeed would still be continuing, except for the presence of you Canadians that are waging the peace. All right, Captain, I see some work going on behind here. Kosovar's doing the work, but the money?
The money comes from CEDA, the Canadian International Development Agency. They've given us a whole group of funds, $750,000, to put into small-scale projects in our area.
So Canadians are providing the funds to hire these workers here and to buy materials.
That's right. We've contracted to hire workers and to purchase materials, which are all purchased locally, to put in new windows, to repair the roof, to paint it, to repair the floor, the new light fixtures, all the things to make the school livable and habitable.
I notice we sometimes complain about temporary classrooms in our schools at home when the school gets too small, but these are unusual temporary classrooms. Did your group have anything to do with this?
Yes. While we were doing the work inside, we had some guys from Duke's company come out and set up these modular tents from the Army so that the classes could continue in the meantime.
Now, before your contingent arrived here in December, the Princess Pats from Edmonton were in here, and I understand the playground equipment over there was something that they set up.
That's right. Their Pioneer platoon constructed that playground with materials that were provided by a British organization called War Child.
Now, I notice around here the number of roofs under construction. Looks like a new roof over here in this place. All of these destroyed in the war. Tell me of the interaction between the non-governmental organizations, like the one you just mentioned from Britain, several Canadian NGOs, and the Army, the relationship between the two.
Well, last shelter we had a large humanitarian emergency where we were worried that people wouldn't have shelter for the winter, which is fairly cold.
Like 20 below?
20 below, 30 below some days. We helped out with our transport resources in distributing these materials, shelter kits and roofing kits, in order just to get everything out in time, because there was a big race to make sure that people wouldn't freeze to death in the winter.
But the non-governmental humanitarian organizations provided the materials, you provided the trucks, the lifts, and the people themselves are in the main doing the construction.
That's correct. Our Pioneer platoons put up, I think, a total of 17 roofs now, for people who aren't able to do it themselves, widows, the elderly, people like that.
Hey, this is a real steep curve of education for me over here in Kosovo. Thank you.
Oh, you're very welcome.
I've noticed along this roadway a lot of culverts. I understand that the Canadian forces had something to do with that.
Yes, that's right. Our engineers, our battle group engineers, have been supervising former soldiers of the Kosovo Liberation Army who have been helping to dig out these culverts to improve drainage and to try and improve these routes where we've put culverts in and we've done some ditch digging.
And the actual cost of the culvert itself, other than the labor?
Oh, the cost of it varies from culvert to culvert, but normally it's a couple thousand Deutschmarks.
But this is a CEDA, again, from the funds from CEDA.
And it's from the Canadian International Development Agency, yes.
And there was a bridge that we saw in the distance back here as well that I understand our people were involved with that bridge?
Yeah, we've had a number of bridge repair and non-standard bridge construction projects throughout our area to try and improve the roads. That's one of the things, is that a lot of these communities are very isolated, very cut off, and we need to improve the infrastructure, just to improve access for people so they can get around, and also to improve the economy.
Well, it certainly seems that violence would be continuing except for the presence of the Canadians who are waging the peace. It's amazing here, the evidence of cooperation. Here we have a school that on the April 4th of '99, just a little over a year ago, this school was functioning normally. It was attacked and destroyed by the Serbs. But you were involved with the Canadian forces in doing a part of this work so school could continue.
That's right. Last fall, our engineers organized the preparation of a gravel pad for the tented school so that it would be able to function through the winter.
I think about a dozen tents here at least for the classrooms, and life goes on.
That's right. This school serves a fairly large community, not just this village, but a couple of others nearby. So it's important for the children to keep the schools open and functioning.
It was Serb against ethnic Albanian and Albanian against Serb, but this was unusual. What on earth are you doing guarding a church?
That's pretty funny, sir. Sometimes I ask myself the same question. Basically what we're doing is, this is a Serbian Orthodox church here in an Albanian village. So our task, mainly in support of our mission, is to provide security on this church to prevent any further acts of vandalism.
Well, it already looks like there is a hole in the roof or something like that.
Yes, sir. This church was partially damaged when the Serbians had moved in here. When they had left, there was damage done by the Albanians to the church. That's why we're here to prevent any more.
Padre, I don't think we have to have guards on a church at home, as far as I know, although there was one incident in Montreal which was pretty sad recently. Just people desecrated a church for whatever reason. But what do you think of this?
Well, yes, I think it's a sad reflection on the situation here in Kosovo, and as you know, there's a limited number of people protecting this church. It's more a show of presence than anything else, but we know as soon as we leave that the church would be desecrated again, because it's happened in other places throughout Kosovo.
Don't tell anybody, but these soldiers were actually taking strings out of their coats.
Well, you never know. Escalation of force, is it?
Yeah, something like that, yeah. I felt threatened. He was pointing something at me.
Nobody said to me yet.
I was trying to... Genius.
This was the happiest moment of day 6 for the troops. The boy obviously had only slippers from an earlier delivery. Now he received boots, including those improvised laces. Our soldiers, I think, have really great hearts. On day 6 here in Kosovo, we have at the back of this Canadian Army truck a lot of clothes for distribution here. From St. Bonaventure's College in St. John's, Newfoundland, a second shipment of winter clothes for kids in Kosovo. It says, each day we pray for you and your families, writing to the Canadian peacekeepers. And it's a very interesting thing, nice, warm, and today we need it. It's getting spring now almost, but we still need it here. Shipments of socks, all kinds of interesting things. Looks like some hand-knitted materials here. And so this is going to be a great occasion to distribute. All right, another Canadian operation here to protect a predominantly Serbian village, although these I was told were Romas or gypsies. And children are precious, whoever they are. Gary Ostafy, the commander of our Royal Military Institute here in Hamilton, he was having great fun. Padre Clifton there, he does more than just conduct chapel services. Look at that big box he's carrying. We're going into another gypsy family, and It's, I understand this particular village, 30% Gypsies, 10% Albanians, and 60% Serbs. I guess it just proves that when there's a will, there's a way. And that brings us to the end of day 6. One more day to go. Still staying with us. And one of the things about these little breaks, you can always cut the VCR and go to the washroom or something. I was thinking of, again, this little service prayer book, Prayer for Others. There's more to life than you. God has blessed you much through others. Lest you forget, here helps to carry out your responsibilities to others. And I just think this is a marvelous little book that was given to me there at Camp DK. I have been praying these prayers myself since arriving home. Day 7. Okay, Warrant Officer Carmen, met him here in Kosovo. Anybody back home you'd like to say hello to?
Yes, I'd like to say my wife, my 5 sons, Donna, my wife, John, Adam, Aaron, Christopher, and Tad, my sons. Take care, God bless, and hope to see you soon.
When will that soon be? When do you get home?
Hopefully around the middle of May.
And that's the Petawawa?
Yes, sir.
Now, you said something here at the beginning that let me know that you and your wife are financial supporters of our television ministry. Tell me why.
We get your weekly or monthly magazine. We support our church, and we tithe our church, and we believe in God and that you sow what you reap.
And you send donations into 100 Huntley Street. Now, that was really important to me to find somebody over here that actually was one of the supporters of our ministry, and I want to thank you very, very much. Promise you'll pray for us?
Yes, sir. Pray all the time, sir.
Now, we had a great Sunday together. We went to how many churches?
3 different churches, Roman Catholic, Baptist, and Pentecostal. It was really uplifting for spiritual growth, because it's nice to see other Christians over here in this war-torn country.
And then at night here at the... Were you here at night at the Padres?
Then the evening we did an evening service, which you did the service. It was well done. It was very good.
Thank you very much, and may God bless and keep you. And it was wonderful to see you worshiping the Lord with all your heart. May God bless and keep you safe and bring you back home. Amen. Thank you. All right. Well, that was early in the morning, right after breakfast, and day of our departure from Kosovo. Took 2 more days to get back, of course, to the Trenton Air Force Base. I needed that time to process an overload of experience and information. And Canada's Communications Center there, of course, is up on the top of a mountain nearby.
In the past few days, we visited many parts of Kosovo, seeing what Canadian troops have been doing to help the local population. These people have suffered in the past few months or few years due to NATO bombing military targets, Serb forces attacking and destroying Albanian enclaves, Albanians seeking revenge doing the same thing to Serb enclaves. When you meet these people individually, you find that these people are really nice and maybe have been misguided in taking part in violent actions. Canadian forces here and their KFOR allies are here to maintain a secure environment and also to provide aid to these people, either by helping them reconstructing their houses or even schools, or providing clothing or other things they could find to help these people.
No lengthy border crossing by land this time. A helicopter took us back to Camp Maple Leaf in Macedonia. And the troops there in Macedonia are also sacrificing to make a difference in a local children's hospital with their care.
What it was this room when we first came here. There was nothing in this room. It was just there was a plaque and a TV, VCR, a couple things like that. So what we did was we said, well, we want to make it a little bit more. Something where the kids come and they're happy. So we have our maintenance people. We had all the stuff. We had mustache growing contests, all these different things. to put together money for this room. So what we did was built things like our tables. All our maintainers, there was many of them, and I think some of our guys from maintenance, like Corporal Clark, they built all these pieces here. You see Canada flags. We got the curtains. We bought the rug. We bring toys on our visitation, and that's where we got the money for the toys. We built the Lego PlayStation or the Lego table here.
And this was from the sale to other to military personnel of those special little bags that carry your dish and your plate bag. Yes, yeah. Fork, knife, spoon, bowl,
all those good
meat.
Things. Yes. So we had Corporal Dell and Corporal Mayer were the ones that they were involved also in the as you can see, our paintings of the wall. What we did was I'd like to let them explain how they came across the items, why they did this.
Corporal Mayer, tell me about this, and what specific work of art have you been involved in here in this place?
Well, I was approached by Lieutenant Schrodre, it was about a month ago, and he found out that I was an artist. He asked me if I wanted to be part of the window. And then I found out that Corporal Dell here was another artist, so I asked her if she'd want to help us. And my art is basically, most of it's actually Corporal Dell. I was injured in an accident and couldn't do the actual work on the window, so Corporal Dell did the majority of the work on the window. She did most of it.
That's great stuff over there. Which one's your favorite?
This side, actually, on the right-hand side with the killer whale and the bighorn sheep. That's I tried to do things that I like about Canada and what I miss. So that was the concept.
That's beautiful. You volunteered your time here. And Corporal Clark, how about you now? Were you handing her the paintbrushes, or what were you doing?
No, sir. I was part of the crew that built the toy boxes, the stands, the bed stands, the TV stands here, and Matt Tex and down in maintenance. And we had a lot of help from all the other platoons and stuff, so it went pretty easy.
Congratulations. This above and beyond the call of duty is great stuff. It warms our hearts as Canadians to see you holding high and proudly the maple leaf. Way to go. Way to go, everybody. Congratulations at this orthopedic hospital in Skopje, Macedonia, just on the border of Kosovo.
Picture taken.
With that? Is that okay? Yeah? Very welcome.
How old is this little guy?
How old are you?
9 old.
Okay, can you write something for us right there? Write it over here on this side. Can you write something? Do you know how to spell? Can you spell hello? Hello.
I got him.
How are you? You good? Huh? Yes. That's good.
There you go.
Yes. Usually.
You're welcome.
Well, a picture's worth 1,000 words. I'm determined to be a more compassionate Canadian, and I started with this, and this is what financed that effort there. What is financing that effort there? And I tell you, I'm going to go out on some picnics with my grandsons and daughters, and look, now I had a bowl only on there. I added a cup. Is that okay to have a little bit of a? Except it doesn't sound like that over there. You must have some special kind of material in this particular pack. But just to think that financed all of that. We had some greetings which have already been delivered across Canada on the 100 Huntley Street telecast. And but let's put them on here, and we'll kind of end up with these greetings. God bless you. Our prayers are with you. thanks again for your warm hospitality. I'll never be the same again.
Hi, I'd like to say hello to Nikki and my daughter Kara, my mom and dad. Hope you guys are doing well in Pet, and see you soon.
Hi, I'd like to say hello to my wife Michelle and daughter Kendra and son Andrew and Pet. Hope you guys are doing good, and I'll see you soon.
Hello, my name is Sergeant Jeff Bombay. I'm here in Camp Maple Leaf in Skopje, Macedonia. I'd just like to say hi to my wife Cindy, my 3 sons Curtis, Justin, and Taylor.
Oh yeah.
Who do you want to say hello to at home?
I like to say hi to my wife Joy and both my kids Shannon and Sean, and to both sets of parents. Hi Mom and Dad, love you.
Let's say hi to my mom.
Okay, I'm saying hi to Jim's mom too, okay?
And I'd like to say hi to my girlfriend Kara back in Ottawa, and my parents and my sister, and I love you and I miss you, and I'll be coming home very shortly.
Hi, I'm Hinish Chauhan. I'm a corporal with the engineers, and right now we're just wiring the school. I'd like to say hi to my mom and dad in Orleans.
G'day, my name is Corporal AJ Clark. I'm with Maintenance Platoon. I'm a mat tech. My family's in Petawawa, Ontario, and I'd like to say hi to my wife, Barb, and my kids. I'll see you soon, and we'll have a good summer.
Hi, my name's Corporal Daryl Eckert. I'm with Supply Platoon, and I just wanted to say hello to Diane, Aaron, Jamie, CJ, Judith, and my mom and dad.